Hello everyone, so now we are in the learning episode 9 in FS2, which is creating my classroom or remote learning management plan. So before we proceed to our discussion, let me enumerate first the learning objectives of this lesson. So at the end of this learning episode, I must be able to explain the importance of my classroom management plan, enumerate the components of my classroom management plan, write my classroom management plan, and use professional reflections and learning to improve practice. So we are now discussing about the creating my classroom or remote learning management plan. A classroom management plan is a plan that a teacher designs that sets the expectations for every student. The purpose of a classroom management plan is to make the students accountable for their actions. Effective classroom management increases student success, enhances students' academic skills and competences, and promotes social and emotional development. Meaning, classroom management plan is designed by the teacher in order to ensure the safety and protection of the students. Also, to hold students accountable for misbehavior. And having an effective classroom management plan promotes social and emotional development of every student. The teaching-learning process may be implemented in various modalities. Teacher must bear in mind that alternatives and other options may be considered in designing the classroom or remote management plan. A good learning environment produces highly engaged students who learn more, do more, and work more. Teachers likewise become more creative and productive in their work. So when it comes to teaching and learning process, it is important that we consider the different alternatives and options in designing classroom or remote learning management plan. And it is also says here that having an effective learning environment or conducive learning environment motivates students to work more and learn more. And also, teachers become more creative and productive in their work.
We have a key elements for effective classroom management. The first is classroom design. This refers to seating arrangement, bulletin board, display, storage area, equipment, supplies, etc. Although often overlooked, the first element of classroom management is intentional design. Use the positioning of your desk, display, storage, and equipment to create a warm and welcoming room. This should be done during the summer vacation prior to the arrival of the student. Make sure you have removed all unnecessary and distracting items from your classroom. This is also a good time to check your classroom for a safety hazard. So, tama naman. Maganda na kailangan mong maayos yung design ng classroom mo bago mag-start yung klase. Second elements is rules. These are expectations set at the beginning of the class to foster love, care, respect, and sense of community in the classroom. Develop rules that foster respect, caring, and community in your classroom, but please make your expectation for behavior clear at the beginning of the year by reviewing these rules with the students. Continue to reinforce your rules throughout the course and post them in a visible location. So, yun nang mas maganda na yung rules na ginawa mo ay kailangan na nakikita nila sa maayos na location. Number 3. Discipline. Classroom rules must define the consequence of every action in class. This will ensure fairness and consistency in dealing with the student. This also includes the rewards given for good behavior. Classroom rules must have concrete consequences. Student will test the limitation of each teacher from the very start of the day. From the very first day of the school. Be firm, fair, and consistent. Begin by warning a student and having them confirm their knowledge of the classroom rules. Follow up continue disruption by issuing them writs, detention, or other official reprimands. Never hit, harass, embarrass, or yell at the student. This is counterproductive or unprofessional and often illegal I mean. Masama naman talaga yun yung mananakit ka ng bata kasi bawal na yun ngayon. May batas na ipinatupad dun kapag nanakit ka ng estudyante. Number 4 elements is scheduling. This includes time allotment given for each period and activity in class. This will make the students to stay on time and on task. Keep your class in order by staying on time and on task. Do classwork during class time, leaving plenty of room for in-class assignments. Cramming work and instruction too close to other activities can lead to behavior and poor comprehension. There should be space before and after every room change. Lunch and recess for students to settle down. Be firm but clear with due dates. Always leave room for extenuating circumstances. Never leave room for procrastination. Number 5 is organization. This refers to the systematic arrangement of files and records and keeping them organized, always and ready for use. Stay organized inside and out. Keep your student files, assignment, lesson plans, and administrative paperwork in order. It sets a good example for your students and keeps you from wasting instructional time looking for materials. Share this system with your student. Post the classroom calendar, homework, schedule and assignments on the board. Also, as a future educator, we need to allow the student to see how we take notes. It helps them distinguish irrelevant information from essential with their own agenda or should say is notebook. You may require students to have their notebook checked at home or during class. Number 6 elements is instructional techniques. These are ways by which you implement your learning content, tailoring your techniques to the subject, grade labels, and nature of the learner is really important. So, hindi tayo maaaring magkaroon ng kakayahan na umangkop ng nilalaman ng bawat curriculum natin. Pero, bilang isang teacher, pwede rin tayong magbigay ng impormasyon na gusto ng mga estudyante natin. Or should I say is, follow up lecture style sessions with relaxed group activities. Consult your colleague for ideas for new lessons. Learn about each of your student learning style, or should I say is, what is their learning curve? How do they learn best? Do they work well in groups? These observations are crucial when fitting your teaching style to your students' needs. And the last but not the least element is communication. Consistent open lines of communication to all the stakeholders of the school community will lead to better teacher-student-teacher relationship. So, as a future educator, we know that communication is the most important aspect of classroom management. It is essential to have clear and consistent lines of communication with your administration, colleague, or students, and also parents. Without it, you will lose the respect of peers, the attention of students, and cooperation of parents. So as a future educator, I know that I need to be responsive to the concerns of others, be flexible and willing to accommodate reasonable requests. Thank you.
So aside from the key elements for effective classroom management, there is also different components of classroom or remote learning management plan and its different guide questions. We have 7 components, and the first one is philosophical statement. So in philosophical statement, the questions that we need to consider here are: what is your set of ideals, values, beliefs, and goals on classroom or remote learning management? What set of criteria and or standards will you set to judge the quality of your classroom or remote learning environment? So, meaning, when it comes to philosophical statement, dito papasok yung mga ideals, values, and beliefs natin as a teacher. Also, the criteria and standard for us to judge the quality of our classroom environment. Because in creating classroom or remote management plan, it is important that we know our goals. Dito napapasok yung mga criteria and standards kung ano ba dapat yung classroom natin. Dapat ba organized? Dapat ba attractive, and more. Also, of course, the belief that we need to do these things because we believe that having an effective classroom management plan can help to the success of every student. So next is classroom rules and procedures. So what classroom rules and procedures will you formulate to ensure discipline and order in your class? So if you can still remember on our previous discussion in FS1, I think, we tackled there about setting classroom rules and routines. And having an effective classroom rules is one of the components of classroom or remote learning management plan. Why? Because we need to ensure the order and discipline in our class. And in order for our students to know kung ano ba yung mga tamang paraan at kung ano ba ang mga dapat nilang gawin inside and outside the classroom. And ilan sa mga classroom routines are movement into the classroom, movement out of the classroom, passing of papers, passing of books, absent students and tardy students, and more. Another component is the teacher-student relationship. How will you treat every student in your class? How will you interact with them? How will you ensure good interaction between and among students and superiors? So, in order for us to have a good relationship with our students, ano ba yung dapat natin gawin as a teacher? And how we will treat them? Dapat ba kapag nag-approach sa atin si students, dapat ba galit agad tayo? Dapat ba sisigawan natin sila? Of course, hindi, di ba? So, kailangan din natin maging fair sa mga students natin. And remember, sabi nila, we, the teachers, are the second parents of our students. So, as a parents, we need to show them love and care. Also, it is important na maipakita at maiparamdam din natin sa kanila na we understand them. We understand their situations and we understand their feelings in order for us to get their trust and to build a strong and good relationship with our learners. Another component is schedules and time frame. How will you organize your class schedule? How will you keep your students to stay focused and on task? So, as a teacher, it is important that we organize our class schedules and we have time management. Hindi yung nauubos yung oras natin sa ibang mga bagay katulad ng pagpapalinis sa mga estudyante natin. Because remember, some of us experience this when we are in high school or even in elementary, that after flag ceremony, instead na nag-start na yung class natin, hindi kasi pinapaglinis pa tayo sa labas. So, ang ending, nauubos yung time sa pagpapalinis kaysa sa discussion, which is wrong kasi dapat alam nating i-manage yung oras natin. Though, hindi naman masama yung magpalinis, but dapat may allotted time lang. And in order for us to keep our students to stay focused naman on their study or task, it is important that we master our topic and we can give them a fun activities in order for us to catch their attention and to avoid boredom. Next is the classroom structures, design, and arrangement. So in classroom structure, design, and arrangement, how will you design your classroom to create an appropriate learning environment? So in this component, it refers to the setting of our classroom. It includes the seating arrangement, the arrangement of chairs, the bulletin boards, and the other displays inside our classroom. Also, dito din natin makikita yung pagiging creative and innovative natin as a teacher of how we can make our classroom neat, attractive, and organized, because having a conducive learning environment can motivate and help students to focus on their study because they are comfortable with their learning environment. Another is classroom safety rules and procedures. So in classroom safety rules and procedures, how will you ensure the safety and security of your students, and what rules will you formulate to safeguard their protections? So in classroom safety rules and procedures, it aims to ensure the safety and protection of our students, meaning it is very important that we organize our classroom. So those things that we think na pwedeng masugatan o mabagsakan ng mga bata, like some sharp and heavy learning and teaching materials, it is important that we have a separate place para sa mga bagay na yon na mas safe at hindi agad-agad makukuha o maaabot ng mga bata. Also, we can post some signages or warnings if ever there are some part of our classroom na sira na para hindi na pupuntahan ng mga bata. Or better, ipaayos na lang natin agad for the safety of everyone. And the last component is the strategies for rewards and consequences. What strategies will you employ for reward and consequences? So in this part, dito naman papasok yung mga rewards and consequences na pwede natin i-employ inside our classroom. And one of the example of this is that kapag marami yung nakakuha ng higher grades, I think in your class, or kapag maganda yung naging performance ng mga students mo, pwede natin silang bigyan ng exemption with other tasks and activities as our rewards. While in consequences naman, if ever they break some classroom rules, we will ask them to write on a back-to-back paper that they will not do it again. But still, it depends on the strategies of the facilitator or the teachers. So those are the 7 components of classroom or remote learning management plan. So now we are here to the steps in designing classroom management plan. So we have 4 steps in designing classroom management plan. The first one is creating the plan. Of course, we need to create the plan first. And then after creating the plan, we need to implement it. Implementing the plan. So we need to implement the plan according to the plan that we made. So after implementing it, we need to monitor it. Monitoring the plan. So of course, kailangan pa rin nating i-monitor yung plan na implement natin. So kailangan nating i-monitor if there is something wrong, kung maayos pa ba siya or not. And then, while we are monitoring the plan, of course, may mga observation tayo dyan. So, based sa mga observation natin, we can improve it, improving the plan. So, pwede pa natin i-improve yung plan na ginawa natin for us to have a better and effective classroom management plan. So, that's all for today. Thank you and have a good day.